Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today it is time to look at another user mission for the Battlefield Engineer events. Today we're having a look at the VFW, or its full name, which I'm going to butcher just for the fun of it, the Versuch Flakwagen für 8.8 cm Flak 37 auf Sonderfahrgäste, or the PZ.SF1.4C. You know, sometimes it's just fun to, annihilate other languages. But basically, this is the new toaster, as people are calling it, or the new tank destroyer that is coming to the German ranks in this Battlefield Engineer event. You need one voucher to be able to get this thing after completing the I-180, so technically you need two, and this, to me, is incredibly surprising. The VFW houses on it an 88mm. It's designed mainly as an anti-aircraft vehicle, but of course in War Thunder this is going to be mainly used as an anti-tank vehicle. Now it has two stages on it. It has the raised idea and also the lowered idea. So you can see that the armor around the shell can be raised or can be lowered. This is done outside of the battle. You have to do this before you actually enter the battle, so all the footage you're going to see here is with it lowered. Now also understand I'm screwing around with my video settings, so if there is some weird inconsistencies in the video, that's because I'm trying to get as much juice out of this other computer as possible, even though this computer is definitely not as good as my other one, and my other one is already lacking. But anyway, so when it comes to the VFW, what you see is the lowered sides, and these sides have a physical model. So when you have them lowered, you are as wide as a barn, and this basically means that you could easily be able to block off streets with one or two of these things just because of the sheer girth of your machine. On top of this, the 88mm is obviously working as well as every 88mm does in the game, and this machine is sat at 5.7 right now, at least in the files, and with it being at 5.7, I was thinking, why is it so high? You know, I was kind of comparing it to the battle bus, which is the truck with the 88 on it, and then I started flying about in this thing. The VFW has an extremely powerful engine in it, and I think it also doesn't have a lot of weight behind it, the 88 probably being one of the heaviest things on the vehicle. It can go around 55 kilometers an hour. This machine has 700 horsepower in it. Just to put that into context, the Merkava that we looked at earlier has 900 horsepower. It has a 900 horsepower diesel. This thing, incredibly light compared to it, has 700 horses in it. This means that its 0 to 30 is absolutely insane, and it can reach 40-45 without even thinking. So when we talk about the maneuverability of this vehicle, it is very, very good. On top of this, it does also have dual drive, meaning that the tracks can move independently, so your turning is a lot better. The only issue with its maneuverability is its reverse gear. Its reverse gear definitely lets down the machine, but it's still, not that much of a big deal. Overall, what we're getting here is a gun platform for the 88, which is incredibly good for it. It is incredibly maneuverable. It doesn't have a lot of armor, but then again, the question is, does it need a lot of armor because of your speed? You should be getting to positions first before your enemies really turn up, and also on top of it, you should be able to get a decent shot off because of the 88mm that is housed on this machine. There's a crew of 6, there's 2 in the technical hull area, what looks like a driver and a man to keep him company, probably either a radio man or just a machine gunner without a machine gun. Then on top you have 4 people which are protected only by the gun shield, and if you have the raised sides. So now you have 2 people operating the horizontal and vertical, then you have a gunner and a commander. So my guess is it's going to be 2 loaders, a gunner and a commander, and that is going to be, how it is. Now I would worry, sorry, about the armor of this vehicle when you're looking at an enemy. 50 cal should be able to do a decent amount of damage to you even just by themselves, so that is something to think of. But this 88 is going to be potent, just like a lot of the other 88 hits because of the amount of HE filler the rounds such as the APC-BC has, and also the fact that its muzzle velocity is very high. At 5.7, you have a pretty contested BR for the Germans. You know, you have the Tiger H, the Tiger E, you got the early Panthers, you've also got good old Ursats set around there, and on top of it now, you have an incredibly good tank destroyer. One of the things that the Waffenträger gives you is a really good penetrating gun, but what it doesn't give you is any armor or speed. Now what we have is a slightly worse gun than the Waffenträgers, but a hell of a lot of speed, a really good reload on it as well, and on top of all of that, you have probably slightly better armor than the Waffenträger, just because there is so much more crew. And also, there is the chance of the shell just going straight through the gun mask and not doing anything. Remember, because of the lack of armor as well, hull break is also going to be something that has to be discussed. I'm not sure if this vehicle can be hull broken or not, but it would not surprise me. The one big disadvantage I've personally seen with the vehicle is the horizontal turret drive. The vertical turret drive is not too bad. The horizontal one is incredibly slow for what I was expecting, and I thought personally with that I can't see it being a very good AA piece because of the fact it takes so long to turn, but also in order to get your gun on target, you're going to have to shimmy the vehicle a lot instead of just the horizontal itself. Now what this generally means is the fact that as you move the vehicle, because the gun is so large and on what is seen as kind of an unstable platform, it's going to be hard to recenter once again when it is ready to go. But that doesn't mean the battle toaster cannot reposition and cannot go after others. What I would personally do with this thing, and something that I think I'm going to do, is set it up in a position, quite a defensive position, but get there aggressively, so you get there early in a battle. Pick off one or two targets who believe that it is, you know, okay to cut corners going certain ways because they don't think the toaster is coming, and then when you have toasted the enemy, you move to a secondary position and do it all again, and just keep doing that. That's one thing about a really good mobile tank destroyer. The fact is, you can shoot a target, kill him, move to the next position, keep the enemy guessing, keep the enemy going. Now the problem with this, with the toaster, is, well, if you have it open, you know, it's like flat bread, the artillery is just going to murk you. Like, it's just going to absolutely annihilate you in this thing, because you have no protection for the crew unless you are looking forward through the gun. So for me, I'm happy to see that this is coming to the game. I hope that its quad 20mm brother also makes it in the game. But I'm just so... I can't believe the speed of this. I find it very hard to believe the speed of this thing. And either it's going to go down in speed, or if this is the case, if it comes to the game like this, then it's just going to be really, really annoying to deal with. It's going to be like more SDKFC 2344s running around. And you've got to remember, at 5.7, we start getting into areas where medium tanks are very dominant, but there are a few heavies that turn up. Machines like this with large guns and good acceleration pretty much annihilate heavies at their BR, unless, you know, the heavies get to shoot first. And as I said, one of the big issues with this is its gun stabilization, but that can be countered by just being stationary and getting into a position first. I am incredibly enthusiastic about this vehicle, and it's you only needing one voucher on top of the I-180, so technically two you know, grinds of the I-180 in order to get it, I think is great. You know, this is going to be a good premium for the majority of people. Is it going to be that easy to play? No, I think it will definitely have its little issues. The issues mainly being the fact that people are going to get hit by arty and annoyed, or, you know, they're going to not get into position quick enough and get hammered, and also the girth of it. The girth of this machine is something you can't forget because of the fact that it is so wide. It's probably wider than a Tiger at this point, and because of the outsize having a physical model, well, guess what? You're going to annoy a lot of teammates by getting yourself stuck in areas, and there are going to be positions that you're used to with other machines that you won't be so used to with this machine, which is a big problem, especially for, city maps such as Advance to the Rhine or Berlin, where you want to at least try and not take up too much space, which is where something like a Waffenträger works really well. The gun depression is also not great on it, but the reload is fantastic, and therefore you can see that there are some advantages, there are some disadvantages for this vehicle, but I think because of the speed, because of the gun and the reload, the advantages definitely outweigh the disadvantages. I'm very, very much looking forward to playing this vehicle and seeing what goes on. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank B. Young, Blackie, Dyslexic Child, Martinez, Moxie, Nito, Nick Graham, Alobralo, and Super Cacti for supporting me on Patreon.